Hey Bob, it's me. We're back, and we're going to be doing a Star Wars Battlefront 2 ranking video. Now this is the third part in the 4-part ranking little mini-series I have going on here, arc. And this is going to be the Supremacy maps in the game. Now the reason I'm doing Supremacy maps is because that game mode is very popular. And the maps are very large. You do whatever you want in the map, go wherever objective you want. It's not linear. And there's capital ship phases. It's a pretty fun game mode. The only problem with it is that it's pretty long. I don't have hours to waste, so I usually just play instant action because that's much shorter and you just play the map, that's it. But I'm also going to be ranking the capital ship phases as well, because why not? It was introduced in Supremacy, so why not? We're going to put the 4 capital Supremacy maps in this ranking as well, making it 17 maps to go over, which is kind of a lot, but I ranked them all. I spent the time and looked at each one and was like, you know what, which one do I have the most fun in? Which one do I have the least fun in? Not to say that I don't like the maps, just that I would prefer other maps. But that doesn't mean I don't want to play those maps that are in the lower tier. I just want to make that clear. All the maps in Supremacy are very good. The development team did a very good job with each and every map, and I like to play on all of them, but there's some maps that I prefer more than others, so that's where I'm going to be ranking these. Before we get into this, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. And I want to reach 100 subscribers at the end of the year. And let's just get into the last place. So coming in at last place, we got Jakku. Now, the reason why I put this at last place is because it's one-sided. What I mean is that whenever the game starts, one side is at a disadvantage. Now, what do I mean? If you're the Resistance, you have to go through what I call the maze of doom. Because in the beginning of the map, there's a maze. And it's like, why is there a maze? Who put this in? I know it's from Galactic Assault, but this maze is kind of confusing. Because you have to go all these, different pathways, and it's just annoying. I just found a way to go out of the map into this Ejective C or whatever. It's just so annoying. But the First Order doesn't have to go through that, so they just walk through to their objectives, which are D and E, I believe, and they get to their objectives much quicker than the Resistance does. Now, granted, I don't play Supremacy, especially on Jakku. I didn't get to play that, because the resistance rotation works, so I don't know if that's always the case. I don't play it all the time. I don't play Jakku on Supremacy all the time, so I don't know if that's the case. But from my experience, it is annoying to go through that maze, and it's much easier as the First Order to get objectives than it is for the Resistance. And that's only in the beginning. I know once the game gets started it's easier, but also it's just that's in the way, and it can get annoying. So that's why I choose the number 17, but I still like the map, because I think the aesthetic of everything being slanted and curved in a way is cool. Fighting in the old Empire's debris is cool. But that beginning part where you're in the maze in the beginning when you spawn in, especially if you're spawning as a hero, because you can't spawn on your teammates, you have to spawn in the spawn of the Resistance, which you have to go through the maze again. It's geez, it's wasting time. Trying to get to an objective being captured, and you're not going to make it probably, because you're just in the maze, and it's annoying, but I still like the map. It's just that part of the map where the Resistance spawns in. It's just, I do not like that. Coming in at 16th place, we got Asian Kloss. Now, the reason why this is second to last place, it's the same reason as Jakku, but vice versa. Instead of the Resistance being the ones that are on the disadvantage, it's now the First Order, because the First Order, they can only have 2 objectives. They're easy to get. Both A, B, and C are in the Resistance base, or near it. That makes it very easy for the Resistance to win. Which I get why, because it's their base, we're in the Resistance base, and the First Order is attacking, but it kind of is a bit unfair, and it's more of a challenge to win. That's not to say the Resistance always wins the Asian Claw, it's just that it's more, one-sided, and whenever I play, it's oh, yeah, you have to go up this hill where the Resistance has the high ground, where the First Order has the low ground, because that's where Objective C is in kind of the middle, and that's why it's at that place. The map is also a little bit too big. When you're not aerial or a hero that can travel very fast, or even a vehicle, you're just a regular trooper, I've noticed you kind of just walk a lot. Now, granted, it's just the way it is. The map's a bit big, but I get why. This is kind of the map for the sequel trilogy in Supremacy. So it is a bit big. You can feel it's a bit big, but it's not. It's more of a nitpick rather than a complaint. But yeah, the reason why is that second to last place is because there's just that. It's more towards the resistance, but it's still kind of balanced for either side to win, I guess. Coming in at number 15, we got Kashyyyk. The reason why Kashyyyk is this low on the list is because this map is very, very, very big. And it is so big that if you're not a vehicle or droideka, or I would say Yoda, because when you jump swing, you go really far. You're just walking a lot. And capturing Command Post C is very important since that's in the middle of the map, and it's just a lot easier for troopers to spawn in there. So if they travel like a marathon to get there. This was the second map ever to be introduced into Supremacy, and yeah, they based off the Galactic Assault map, which that is the biggest map in Galactic Assault, I believe. So they just put the entire thing in, which I don't think they should have done. I think they should have cut off the map. But I get why. It's more for vehicles and droidekas, but for regular troopers, you're gonna walk a lot, and it's just kind of not fun. But let's not say it isn't fun, because you can have good points on the map, and since it's big, there's a lot of action going on, even though it is very big, because you can have your own adventure, you could say. So that's why it's at number 15. It's just a very big map, and it can be a bit annoying at times. Coming in at number 14, so we got Takodana. Now this is the final sequel Supremacy map in this list, and all three of them are at the bottom or near the bottom, because I think Takodana is the best. And overall, for the sequel trilogy maps, they're not, outstanding, but they're still good. But I put Takodana at the first place in this, the top sequel map to be, because it's just a nice map. It's not too big. It's actually normally sized, like a lot of the Supremacy maps are, and it's kind of fun to play. When I played it for footage for this video, I was like, yeah, this is actually kind of fun. And through past videos playing on this map, it's fun to play. It's not that big. The objectives are fun. All of them were equally spaced out. Objective C is on this hill, and you kind of have be prepared, who's on top of the hill, and it's equal for both sides, because, both sides are going up the hill. But, there's still a lot of better maps, but that's not to say it's a bad map. So if you get Takodana, don't skip it. It's actually quite good, but there's only 3 maps, so you kind of can't skip it, because what else is there? Coming in at number 13, we got Hoth. Now, the reason why Hoth is this low, you may say, oh, it's the original trilogy map, it should be good. I think this is the lowest. This is the lowest original trilogy map, because it is meant for snipers, and it's annoying. I don't like snipers. I don't like getting head sniped. And for vehicles, it's Vehicle Town. It's all flat. But what I do have to say about this map is it is very beautiful. This map feels like you're in Alaska or in Antarctica. It feels very, very authentic, and it's very just surreal to just be there. And it feels like you're in Winter Wonderland. But the vehicles and the snipers can be a bit annoying. Plus, it's vehicles, which starships, actually, not because there are vehicles, but starships. They can shoot down at you, which can be annoying. Granted, it's an action, you don't deal with that, but you still deal with vehicles if you have them enabled, and, even though no snipers and it's an action, it's still kind of, you get shot at a lot, which isn't all the time, but it still can be kind of annoying, because it's flat, and, you can't, trying to heal if you're a blaster hero can be, a bit tricky at some points, but, it's a good map, but in Supremacy, it's a bit annoying when you have to deal with snipers and vehicles. That's why it's at this place. So number 12, we got our first capital ship map, which is the Resurgent class Star Destroyer for the First Order. And this map's pretty good. So the problem is the last phase of it, where you're in the pit of death, I like to call it, or the hangar of death, because there is a lot of you don't know when you're gonna fall to your death, because The void is blackish. The ground, the flooring is blackish. So it's difficult to tell if you're about to fall to your death or be saved or going to a lower platform, because there isn't any bright colors to identify. In other maps, you can tell when you're hitting a ledge or going into the void, but in this map, you can't. And I play this map a lot in Heroes vs. Villains, and I know this isn't Hero vs. Villains map rating, but in that game it is very annoying, and very confusing, and very just annoying, and I see people in the chat just be like, oh my god, this map sucks. They should have chose indoors, or more in the first part of the map. I don't know why they chose this part. I guess the developers love just these maps with big chunks of the void you just fall into, because it's very annoying to get pushed into it. That even goes for Supremacy, because you just go in and you just die, because you get pushed off the map. You know, you don't know if you're going to land somewhere in the void or not. You think you're going to land on the safe ground, but nope, you're in the void. And yes, the gameplay is co-op, because it's kind of difficult to get, you know, footage for this in Supremacy, so, you know, made what, you know, I guess I had to deal with it. But it's the same thing applying in co-op as well. It's a bit annoying, because if you're like BB-8 or Ray, you have to go into the spawn of the first door, which is very dangerous, because they're just not that useful. So, overall, this is the lowest ranking capital ship map, but still a pretty good map for the first 3 phases. So at number 11, we got Scarif. Now, I actually like Scarif. It's kind of cool, because part of it's water, part of it's sand, and a beach-like atmosphere. It's pretty cool. It gives off kind of Battlefield vibes to it, which is kind of cool. It's like Battlefield, but there's lightsabers and blasters firing everywhere. It's really cool, and I like this map. I'm going to say that a lot, because I think from this point on, I just like all the maps, but it's more which one do I prefer more. Now, Scarif is good, but I don't really have anything negative to say about it. It's just kind of an extra map, which I like to play occasionally. I think the only problem is that there are parts of the map which are kind of flat, which is the sides of it. Like, it's more just a flat, you know, kind of shallow water, which can be annoying if you're like in a blaster battle, if you're a lightsaber user. There's no protection, it's more just using your lightsaber to block. But besides that, it's kind of cool. So yeah, it's at number 11. Number 10, we got Geonosis, the first ever Supremacy map to be added into Battlefront 2. Now I remember this map was hype in March of 2019, I believe, and this map is very small. That is a complaint that a lot of people have. But the reason why it's at number 10 is because it's what Supremacy is. It's kind of the first map to kind of just be like, yeah, this is what the game was about. You have 5 objectives. One of the objectives, which is Objective C, it is called the High Ground, so it kind of gets some boosted up rankings because of that. It's called the High Ground. Why would you hate the map? It's called the High Ground. But the map is small, but it's good for everything. Good for vehicles, good for heroes, good for troopers. Because since it's smaller, there's more action, and it's big enough where you can actually do what you want. You know, go to whatever point you want on the map. Yes, it's small, but it's the first map, so it kind of gets a pass, but in ranking every other map, it's kind of good. It's at number 10. Number 9, we got the Providence class Dreadnought for the Separatists, and this is the second to last on the ranking of capital ships, because this map is good, but kind of similar to the First Order capital ship, is that it's the last phase can be a bit annoying with the void, and yes, I'm using co-op footage, but it still applies to Supremacy, where you have to destroy the kind of main objective, which is like blowing up the ship from the inside, which there's there's void there, and you get pushed off by heroes, and you die, because there's not really many places to go. But for the most part, it feels like you're in Revenge of the Sith in those hallways, which is really nice. And ranking these capital ships are very difficult, because they're all very good. It's just that for this one, and the First Order ship phase, it's just that there's that void part, which is kind of annoying. And it's just, weird was the spawning of the AI in co-op, and in Supremacy it's more just kind of weird, but it works in a way. But in terms of gameplay, you're in these like hallways, plus in co-op the second phase is just a nightmare, because the objectives go on, because there's a top part and there's a bottom part, which I do not like. So that's kind of annoying as well. That's why it's at number 9. You just want to throw that in there. Number 8, we got Camino. Now, Camino is very just unique, as there are no vehicles, which, is very good. It's just for that alone, it's at 8th place. But what makes it better is that this is all these white walls and hallways, and just the rainy atmosphere really makes it unique. And the color coding is very unique to the rest of the maps. Granted, there is much of void, you fall off the ledge, but that's kind of what you expect. It's kind of like in every Battlefront game. Every video game that involves Camino, you're always going to have like those large, voids. You fall down, you die, but there's railings. It's not like other maps where there just aren't railings. There are, fences that keep you in. So you can't just jump, you can jump in, but They want to keep you safe. The people who run the cloning facilities, they want to keep you safe. That's what I respect. Even in war, you gotta keep both sides safe from falling off the ledge. So, just for that, it's very cool, because the developers are self-aware that, yeah, the majority of the map is just a void. You're just fighting on platforms. But there's railings that keep you in, which is really good. Also, being able to play the outdoor part of Camino is really good, because that wasn't available offline for a long time, and when Instant Action was added in, it's really great. So Camino is number 8. It doesn't much to say, it's more just a your standard map, but it's pretty cool and unique. Number 7, we got the MC-85 Star Cruiser from the Resistance. Now, this map gives me Last Jedi vibes, which, whatever you want to talk about the movie, that's fine. You hate it, you love it, whatever. But the map itself is very good and reminds me of that film, which is okay. It's fine. It gives me that vibe, which I like the ship in Last Jedi and the Resistance ship. I don't think it's the ship, I don't believe, but it's close to it. Now, the reason why I like this map is at 7th place is because there is no, void. I don't believe so. I mean, there kind of is, but it's hard to get into the void because there's stuff blocking it, but you can still die to the void, which is kind of annoying, but it's a rare occurrence. But this map is very cool, and I like it, and nothing else to say about it. I mean, the one thing I can say about it is that in co-op, there are actually two phases where there are 1 point to capture, which makes it very good to level up. Because that means you get 2 points where you get to have all these bots coming in. Makes it very cool for both sides, and it makes it very, very good to level up. Number 6, we got Yavin 4. This map is at number 6 because it has that, old Battlefront vibe. What I'm talking about is that, to me, whenever I think of Battlefront, I think of being in like a foresty area and fighting troopers. That's what it's kind of like in Yavin 4. It's the closest to being on like Endor, because Endor is not a map. It's not a Supremacy map. It's only Galactic Assault because, it's a linear map, but oh well. Yavin 4 is the closest to it. And just being on that map, being in a jungle is very cool and kind of unique. I don't think there's any maps that are like these foresty jungle-like parts, because you have like a couple parts of the map that are just like jungle. And it's a really cool because you can walk through it. It's not like a barrier blocking you. No, you can actually walk through it. And you'll get to different points in the map through, like, going diagonally or whatever. Which is really cool. And, it's just fun to play. It's a great map. The Objective C is actually like this plus sign, which can be a bit annoying because, it's very big. And a lot of people are kind of, on it all the time. So, it's kind of difficult to get that sometimes, but it is a good point then, because that means there's going to be more action then. I like the map, and that's why it's at number 6. Number 5, we got the last capital ship on this ranking, which is the Venator-class Star Destroyer for the Republic. Now, the reason why this is the top capital ship map is because it has everything. Yes, even though there's void, and yes, even though I do complain about the voids from the other maps, this one's okay, because you don't have to go into it. It's not mandatory. You can just play the map without going into the void, or going into the void part of the map, which is in the center of, I think, the third phase in co-op, or, you know, it's in a part of the map, which you don't have to go into it. I don't believe so. You can just go into sides and capture the points in co-op, which is really good, because you can still get pushed in through an enemy here, which, yes, I have gotten. That's very annoying, but that's part of the map, and I guess that's everything. Close quarters, hallways, makes you feel like you're in the Clone Wars, which is cool. It has everything. That's why it's at number 5, because it's just a really cool, and you do whatever, mostly you can do everything. There's a little bit of everything in this map, which is really cool. Number 4, we got the Death Star 2. Oh boy. So you take what the Venator class Star Destroyer has, and make it much bigger with the Death Star 2. This map gives me, like the old Battlefront 2 vibes, similar to Yavin 4 in a way, where it's like, you're in this kind of futuristic place. Everything's just these mechanical walls, you know, doors are opening when you walk towards them. It gives me that vibe of like old Battlefront 2, even though I never played old Battlefront 2 back in like 2005 or whatever. It gives me that vibe. This is something really funny. I don't know why, but in Objective E, the radius to capture a command post is very small. It's very funny because in instant action, you don't, like, see any of the bots capturing it, really, unless they just accidentally stumble upon it, because that's how small it is. I feel like it's a glitch or a bug, or just a mess up that the developers did. I don't think it's supposed to be that small. Go check it out for yourself if you kind of forget, because, the Objective E is very small, and it's just hilarious. But nevertheless, the entire map's very great, and I do enjoy playing on it, and it's very good, and I do like it, and a lot of people like it as well, because, it's pretty cool. A lot of different parts of the map which feel very different, because I think it's just all just mechanical stuff everywhere, and it just feels very kind of, like, hellish in a way, because I know, like, some parts of the map feel kind of hellish, and it's kind of cool. You're in kind of like the Empire's domain, you know what I mean? Because it's the Death Stars, the Empire's, you know, shining light to destroying planets, which they probably won't do all that much, but it's very cool, and I like playing on this map. It's kind of, I see it being underrated, but it's at number 4, so to me it's not underrated. So, on our top 3, number 3, we got Tatooine. Now, Tatooine is kind of special. It is a map that I think is the best original trilogy map, because it has, it's a suburban neighborhood type of thing. You can jump on top of buildings, you can just go down the streets of Tatooine on Muz Isles, you can go into the cantina, which, you know, there isn't really much action there. Well, I think in Supremacy there is. I think. I forget. I haven't played it in a bit, but from the memories I have, I do like it. Alright, I don't want you to think like, oh, I'm just making stuff up. No, I don't. I do like this map a lot. Whenever I play, I have a ton of fun, and every point is different and obtainable, and it's balanced, which I think is the most important. The map is equally sized, because I know Tatooine is a bit larger, but they made it work, very balanced for both sides. Well, if the Empire usually beats the Rebels a lot, because that's how it is, because the reinforcements and heroes and vehicles are better, but I think in terms of getting the objectives, they're equally balanced. If you remove the vehicles and enemy heroes, if it's just trooper v trooper, it is easy for both, it's equally balanced for each side to get it, that's what I'm trying to say. Overall, Tatooine is a great map, and I don't think anyone should skip it. I honestly don't, because it's pretty fun, and any hero can do well on it, so that's why it's at number 3, because it's great for everything. Number 2, we got Felucia. Now, I didn't expect Felucia to be number 2, but it is like one of the best maps in Supremacy. It is cheating, because Felucia was made for Supremacy, but saying that Scarif and Asian Cloth are both made for Supremacy as well, and they're not anywhere near second place, so I guess Felucia is just that great, and it is, because all the points are easy to get, they're very unique, they are just very equally for both sides to get. The entire map is very fun, it's not one-sided at all, and overall I think it's a very good map, and I think a lot of people agree as well. Felucia is very unique because it's from the Clone Wars show. Yes, it's in Revenge of the Sith a little bit, but it's completely just in the film CGI, and I think where the game shines is making the CGI planets, characters, and putting them into a photorealistic game makes it look insanely good. And Felucia is one of the most beautiful planets in this game, and it's the most beautiful map ever. And to developers who worked on this game, you get a round of applause. You did a fantastic job making this map look beautiful. There's so much detail in this map, so much to look at. So that's pretty cool, and that's why it deserves number 2. But coming in at number 1, we got Naboo. Now, if you watch a lot of other ranking videos of, like, let's just say Galactic Assault, you would know that Naboo is like number 1 on other people's lists, and that's because in Galactic Assault, Naboo is very, like, the ideal map for Galactic Assault. Each phase is different, and it gets smaller and smaller, but in Supremacy, it's a bit different. It doesn't get smaller and smaller, it stays the same. The battle doesn't move unless you go into the capital ship phases, but what Naboo strives at is that every point is great. It's like you're in a square, kind of. It's really, really fun to play, and I do not get bored playing on Naboo. Every point is very fun to get. Playing as vehicles is fun. Playing as heroes is fun because you have a lot of places where you can hide because you're in kind of a town, so there's points to hide. They kept the original map from Galactic Assault and just cut off the palace part of it, which people like Galactic Assault, Naboo. The logic still stands that Naboo would be number 1 here, because it's just so much fun to play, and the layout of the map is very good. A downside you can say is that the only time of day is dusk. Now, when I first heard this, I was like, ooh, I don't know if that's good, because I like playing on daytime Naboo, but the dusk actually makes it a bit more interesting, because there's fire on that map, from the ships that got blown up. And it makes the map feel lit up in a way. It makes every laser shot feel like it's lighting up the hallway or kind of the narrow place that you're at. Because the place is kind of dark, but it works. The map works. The time of day works. And if it was in the daytime, it would kind of lose that value. But I get what they're going for. This map feels like a sequel to the Galactic Assault map. Because in that map, there is no, like, I would say, destroyed ships anywhere. It feels like the battle just started, but when you're in Supremacy, it feels like the battle has been going on. And you can imply that that's the same battle that was happening in Galactic Assault. Now, I don't know if that's the case, but it feels like that, and it makes it very kind of like a sequel. Like, no other map really has that, where it's like a sequel to the Galactic Assault map. That's why it's at number 1. I think it deserves number 1 for that. Well, there's my list. My list is not the correct list. Obviously, I chose the capital ship maps, which are in Supremacy, but they're not technically, like, original, like, their own maps. They're just part of the game mode. But I did choose them. I think other people won't, but I did just because, I don't want to rank just the 4 capital ship maps. That would just be very short video and unnecessary, so I thought I'd just put it in with this list. But obviously, you probably won't, but I did. And everyone's list is different. That's why I say comment down below, because, it's fun. If you're number 1, my number 1, that's interesting. If you're last place, my last place, who knows? But without that out of the way, hope you enjoyed this video. Like I said, hit the like button and subscribe. I'm gonna go now, so goodbye everyone.